Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The question actually asks you how many hours has the Metropolitan Police spent investigating such incidents? And it would be good to get an answer from you specifically on that. But talking about hate incidents, we have in the report here, which you were alluding to, an incident of someone reporting a barking dog, a student being refused drinks in a bar, a bus driver who was reported to be giving a racist look, whatever that is. In figures I've asked for you, which you've given me on hate crimes, not hate incidents, we've got one incident of Islamophobic possession of drugs, 7 incidents of homophobic shoplifting. I think people seeing this kind of thing being reported to the police would, and the police spending time on this would think, well, what on earth are the police doing when they're not, we've got surging knife crime, surging murder, surging level of rape in London. Why are police spending their time on hate incidents, which are very, very trivial, rather than investigating these more serious crimes and then trying to bring down the level of knife crime in London? So can you go back and tell me, how many hours has the Metropolitan Police spent investigating such trivial incidents?
Well, I'm surprised, Chair, some members are not aware that the police don't time record time spent on each offence that they investigate. And if they did, you'd criticise them for spending time logging the time they spend investigating every single crime. I'm not so sure. I'm not sure why you want to criticise the police for members of the public making complaints to them. I mean, the police respond to the complaints made. They will then have a triage process and decide which complaints spend more time investigating and which complaints spend less time investigating. And you'll be aware, because you've criticised in the past, the thresholds the police have in relation to investigating various offences. Once the police think there's a potential of a charge having occurred, they then refer to the CPS, and they have their own guidance in relation to whether a prosecution should be brought. And there's basically 2 tests they have. One is if it's in the public interest to bring a prosecution. 2 is whether it's got a reasonable chance of success in a prosecution being brought, bearing in mind the burden is beyond a reasonable doubt. And so I'm not sure why you're trivialising issues around hate crime, because I think it's a really important issue in a diverse city as ours, and I want the police to have a zero tolerance towards hate crime. And we saw, as a consequence, partly I think because of some of the campaigning that took place before the referendum, a massive spike in hate crimes across our city.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I mean, this is a narrative which you've been talking about, Brexit and so on. I mean,
Chair,
let's not go into that. But
I was answering the question, Chair, but
well, you've been
one of the
giving a
great
very
British
long
things,
answer.
Chair, is manners, and I'm surprised the UK doesn't realise the British thing of manners.
I'm going to move on to the next thing. I mean, you can't, talking about these imaginary hate crime spikes that you do. But there's something very disturbing that appeared on the website of the Metropolitan Police back in March, which was very, very quickly removed. And there was a paragraph that says, if someone does something that isn't a criminal offence, but the victim or anyone else believes it was motivated by prejudice or hate, we would class that as a hate incident. Though what the perpetrator has done may not be against the law, their reasons for doing it are. This means that it may be possible to charge them with an offence. Now, whoever wrote that paragraph seems to be adhering to a culture where you're looking to criminalise people for things that aren't criminal offences. Now, this paragraph was roundly condemned and ridiculed, and then it was very, very quickly removed. But why would something like that appear on the website of the Metropolitan Police? And how far up the chain does this attitude and this culture go?
So, just so we're clear, I'm personally responsible for a hustings being cancelled, and now I'm personally responsible for a paragraph on a website 6 months ago.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I just asked you how far up it was. I didn't say that you were personally responsible. I'm asking you where this kind of culture and attitude comes from.
I'm not sure.
You sound a little bit defensive, so maybe you are responsible.
With you, never. I've got no idea what paragraph it's been referred to, Chair.